Member for Hume.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise today to reflect on some opportunities and challenges identified in the 2015 Intergenerational Report. In particular, I want to reflect on some of my biggest learnings from 20 years, almost 20 years, working in management consulting and change management. Madam Speaker, the Intergenerational Report tells us that by 2050 our workforce will be diminished in number and older in age. The report tells us there is an economic impact from this reality, namely that as time goes by, each employed Australian will need to support more people than ever before. We know already that in Western economies there are big challenges in delivering the growth in incomes we've seen in past decades, whilst also making ends meet at the government level. Now, none of us want to hear a message about having to work harder to generate more wealth, and we don't have to. As a postgraduate economist, I was fascinated by growth theory. It tells us that innovation-driven growth, what economists call productivity, is more important than growth driven by blood, sweat and tears. It's the most important dynamic in human history. And it's highly cumulative. So today's scientists and inventors and today's entrepreneurs stand on the shoulders of giants, as innovation today builds on the innovations of yesterday. But, Madam Speaker, we can't see innovation as some kind of manna from heaven. The process has been described famously as one of creative destruction. New industries and skills replace old industries and skills. Steamships replace sailing ships, cars replace horses, the internet's replacing media, reshaping media, music, photography and now video. Madam Speaker, creative destruction sometimes occurs painlessly, and whilst it offers huge benefits to many, it can be temporarily painful for some, and we must be sensitive to that. The truth is that sometimes the old resists the new, even aggressively. And as we know only too well, threatened industries and businesses often look to government for support to survive, and the cost to taxpayers asked to prop up dying industries is enormous. The Labor Party often capitulates, and whilst managing the transition with compassion and insight is critical, this process shouldn't be blocked. There's also a behaviour pattern amongst new entrants who look for government to help to reduce the risk of starting up. A big government subsidy is almost certain to stifle the rough and tumble of innovation. You can't avoid the need to repeatedly test a product, fail and then reformulate. Innovation succeeds more as the result of repeated failures than repeated successes. Madam Speaker, it's hard to think of a long-term success story that came out of infant industry support. In my electorate of Hume, small business innovators abound, and we want more. Brumby Aircraft at Cowra is leading the world in small aircraft design. AFS Building Products at Goulburn are making cutting-edge products for low-rise building developments on the east coast of Australia. Sarah Jane Furniture at Cowra has expanded into roof tile battens alongside traditional timber products. Hilltop Meats at Young are in an innovative new export abattoir, and the cherry exporters around Young are breaking into new markets with innovations in biosecurity and cherry production and processing. A company that's also revolutionising poultry genetics across the world, based in the United States, has opened major operations in Goulburn. Innovation and the productivity that follows from it delivers higher income and more jobs in my electorate and across Australia. But it will also support better government services whilst containing the growth in spending threatening to cripple our country, as we saw in the Intergenerational Report. For example, around the world, innovations in healthcare are accelerating. Not only are we seeing new devices, drugs and procedures, but a broad-ranging innovation in the purchase and provision of health services. In education, primary, secondary and tertiary, technology is revolutionising the sector. Textbooks are being replaced by technology solutions. Internet and video conferencing allow direct and easy access to the world's best thinkers at vastly reduced costs. Madam Speaker, it's time for policymakers, commentators and all engaged in the political process to encourage innovation to occur in the private and public sectors. That is the core of our philosophy on this side of politics, as seen by a shift away from industry pork barrelling, our focus on lower taxes and our dramatic reduction of red tape, as we saw in this week's repeal day. More than ever, we need the opportunity for bipartisan debate on how we embrace innovation, driving higher incomes and more jobs.
The honourable member's time has expired.